more? Why'd you learn more?
I don't know.
Why are we trying to learn?
I want to learn.
You do?
I've got an unquenchable thirst for information
and
perspective.
I'm going to give you some information.
Yeah.
Do you know Jonathan Newsom, a fifth-round pick, has more total sacks, even now, playing like 2 years, than Kwity Paye and these other clowns that they've drafted with the Colts?
Well, now, Kwity only has played 2 years.
That's all Jonathan Newsom played. Fifth-round pick.
Yeah.
Gregson for hero.
This is the year for Kwity. You better find somebody to get to the damn quarterback.
Did you?
You know, top 2 teams in the league. Who were they?
I would say the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Bing!
70 and 55.
You don't remember this, but last year, Yannick Ngakoue came, and everybody, all of our Colts media got their knee pads out, and they got the lotion, and they got the moist towel, and they did for Ballard what they always do for Ballard. Great sign. And I told you 6 teams or 5 teams in 6 years. This dude ain't real.
Yeah.
And then, where are all my teacher friends? My balls. You know who's still looking for a job?
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yes, sir. You don't need to go anywhere else. Dockage and Sterling shall set you free. And we're going to argue today about something.
Yep. But before we get to the Colts, minicamp going on. This is day 2 of the minicamp. I want to ask you about Boogie Fland, a kid who is visiting Bloomington at this moment. Number 13 player in the class of 24, according to Rivals or whomever. He talks to Jeff Rabjohns, and Rabjohns says, okay, now what do you think about the coaching staff? What do you like about them? And he says, well, they have shown an interest in getting to know Boogie the person. Not just Boogie the player, but Boogie the person. Third person referential high school kids, your thoughts?
Send him home. Hey, are we trying to win? What are we trying to do here, Indiana? Are we trying to win? Or are we trying to get a good recruiting class? Look, memo, Jeff Rabjohns will say you have a great recruiting class no matter who you put in there. You can put Sterling and Dockett in there, and all these little slapdicks of the Indiana media will say, oh, they got the guy they wanted. Send the third person clown home.
Send him home like Mike Giommi after a road loss.
Send him home after Coach Knight found out that he and Giommi were dating the same woman. Not true. Not true. A rumor back in the day. A rumor. But look, I know kids are kids, but god dang, I'm so tired of it. I talked about it all morning. Here's what I talked about with it. I talked about what are the Bills supposed to do with Stephon Diggs? They gave him a 4-year deal. They gave him 96 guaranteed. It wasn't a deal that was up. They extended him. $70 million guaranteed. And, I don't want to go to camp. What do you mean you don't want to go to camp? You got a top 5 quarterback. Well, he didn't throw me the ball. I'm telling you, players, I'm starting to take it. They're giving me gas. You can't please players.
Right.
You cannot please these jackasses. They gave the dude $96 million at 31 years old, extended the deal, 70 guaranteed, top 5 roster, top 5 team. He's mad because they didn't throw him the ball when they lost. And then, I want your opinion on this. Josh Allen is like, well, I didn't do a good enough job with the relationship. Shut up. And the coach McDermott's like, well, this is concerning. Look, what did we learn in the NBA Finals? Mike Malone ripped his team's ass. Coach your team. Spoelstra and Riley, they have a culture. Coach your freaking team. Never apologize. Never, ever give in to these jackasses, Ken.
Forgiveness is...
weakness.
Bam.
Kindness. Weakness. It's all weakness to players.
And I like this, not to bring it back to the Colts, but Shane Steichen doesn't seem to be that kind of guy. He's all the players. Zaire Franklin, he says he's accountable. Because Steichen is holding them accountable. And they say it over and over again about Steichen like that's not what was happening before.
There's your problem.
Yeah.
There's your previous problem. I'm sorry.
A lot of high fives at practice. Hey, great job. No. Coach them up. Don't praise them. I don't understand praiseful coaches. I just don't.
Here's what I didn't understand. I said it at the time. I said this at the time. There was an article, and Ballard was too stupid to know that this was not good. A rookie, nothing else, is MFing Ballard in practice because there's not a good enough player playing against him. And it was in the Star, and Ballard's like, that's what we want out of our... that they don't respect you. That shows that you're too nice a rookie or second-year guy. You're not MFing are you MFing Bill Parcells as a general manager? Are you MFing Jerry Jones as a general manager?
Probably not.
Are you MFing Bill Belichick as a general manager?
No.
Are you MFing Pat Riley as a general manager? Are you MFing the guy who built the Nuggets as a general manager? Hell no. But we're MFing our guy, and our guy's like, oh, that's the competitive spirit we want. And I'm like, you're a dumbass. You don't MF the general manager on any team that has any sack.
And here's what you know, and that's that either all are accountable or none are accountable. If you don't hold Quentin Nelson accountable for that nonsense, you can't hold anybody accountable. Nobody's going to respect your ass if you have uneven justice, and that's exactly what happened.
You said this, and to your point, you said nobody builds the bottom of the roster like Chris Ballard. Well, maybe nobody disciplines the bottom of the roster like Chris Ballard.
Right.
That shit don't work.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what players are. Players are like those women on The View. They're always talking. Like, you may not like what but they ain't gonna stop talking. Go ahead.
And especially true with the offensive line.
Really?
Those guys, they're very, very close.
Yeah.
And they talk all the time. Their lockers obviously are together. You see them all the time. They're very supportive of each other. They got their own little family.
Yeah.
And if shit goes kind of wonky, it's going to go as a unit, which is exactly what happened.
Somebody said it, to your point. Somebody said the key to coaching is to keep the, however many guys, say 13 guys on a basketball team, to keep the 10 guys that like me away from the 3 that don't.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Right.
Because if I'm dissatisfied, I'm recruiting. I'm trying to find somebody somewhere, all right, boom, 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 that's going to join my cause. And if I'm MFing the general manager, and you guys, this is a long time ago, but this is a problem. I am looking at this and I'm saying, wait a second. I'm pretty good. Maybe I'm a starter. He got away with that.
Yeah.
That's the core of the whole thing. And the Colts were too stupid. And Ballard's been too stupid to understand it. So I am glad that you're telling me you believe Steichen. Now, proof will be in the pudding. First loss, first blow up. You know, Shaq Leonard doesn't want to play or whatever. We'll see. But good news is that it seems that it's that way.
And I do not buy for a minute that you can't discipline players.
Oh, hell no.
Kids have all changed.
No
you can't
bullshit.
coach kids anymore.
Parents
you
have
can't
changed.
discipline. You can. They want it. They crave it.
Yes.
And when you don't provide it, that's when they go haywire.
That's right. And look, in every job, I want it. My guy who's my producer at Outkick, he calls me after every show and tells me what I screw up, and I can't wait to talk to him because everybody wants somebody to help them. Everybody wants somebody to lead them. You're going to act like you don't, but you do.
I've had people, this is why, I don't know, I love hiring athletes.
Yeah.
Right? When I was a program director, hiring athletes, hiring coaches, they all want to get better, and they know that criticism is how they do it. That's the lever toward improvement. When you deal with others who haven't been through that, they cry in your office. You know, you really need to get better, and gently. You need to get better at this. This is something we can work on.
I remember you got shunned by MG for 2 weeks for saying something like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, I came at him, and I did it on purpose as kind of a test.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you've got to get better. And he was like, oh, uh-huh. All right, this is after I knew him for 5 years. I maybe should have done it before. I think it was my fault, but...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I remember, there was a girl at Emmis, and I was so nice. Well, you came at me. I go, here's the text. Would you please? Thank you. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Fuck, people are out of their freaking minds. All right, so
Yeah.
last thing on the Colts, as many things you want to go on the Colts. Anthony Richardson. I'm going to talk about Anthony Richardson forever. Bubbly, yes, he gave an homage to Marshawn Lynch. Yes, he can dunk. I seen the video, he can dunk. Is he any good? You've seen a little bit now. Is he any good?
All the physical traits of a good quarterback
Is he
are
any
there.
good? Can he
I
throw
don't
the
know.
ball? Can
I don't know.
Can he hit that umbrella right out there?
Yeah, I've seen him throw it in those little targets.
Really?
Not every time. But you know what? I mean, we don't know until he faces adversity what kind of guy he's going to be. What kind of man is he? As a quarterback thrown against air, he's really, really good. When he does things physically, he does them different from anybody else. But can he compete when the chips are like last minute and a half of the first half.
Yeah.
Can he do what Manning always did?
Yeah.
And that's bing, 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 take control and move the football.
Not yet.
We're going to find out.
Not yet.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you. I'm putting out some more people around. Look at my man Sean Black and Sam and Ken. I got to ask you. So would you send Boogie, whatever the hell his name is, home, or are we good with Boogie?
I'm not good with. Look. Here's my rule, and I think this is a pretty good rule. You can build a good human being based upon two things: a man, based upon The Godfather, and based upon Seinfeld. Take all the annoying qualities of Seinfeld's side characters,
yes,
and don't do those. Like Jimmy. Jimmy loves to shoot. Jimmy's this, Jimmy's that. And nobody knew. Lane thought that Jimmy was another guy.
Right.
But he was actually Jimmy. Yeah, that's a problem. So third-person referential stuff, according to Seinfeld, doesn't work, and I totally agree.
See, so I'm watching Seinfeld the other day, and it was an episode where Elaine and George were in the restaurant by themselves without Jerry. It was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
And they couldn't talk. They had no relationship. Right? And so I've always said, you got to find a Seinfeld on your team.
That's right.
You got to, and the guy that talks in third person, I said this about Tamar Bates when he came to Indiana. I'm watching Tamar Bates, and I'm watching it on video. Tamar Bates comes in the locker room, and it's like a production.
Yeah.
He's coming in. Everybody's working out. He's got his hat on, and hey, how you doing? All the bullshit that clowns do. And I'm like, I got to tell you, he got no shot.
Yeah.
He got no shot. I mean, he's supposed to be a really good player, but he's going to disappoint. I said he did. It's like this Gabe Cupps kid who's the Mr. Social Media. Right. We know how it ends. It ends like Miller Cup. Probably a nice career. Nobody wins nothing. In Indiana, no. Just have a bunch of Seinfelds. Have a bunch of like Trace Jackson Davis. If you had guys like Trace Jackson Davis around Trace Jackson Davis, you'd have won big. Instead, you got a guy worrying about a headband. You got a freshman that's trying to be a first-round pick. You got garbage. So, Boogie Cousins comes in and some other social media guy comes in. Look, you and I aren't children.
No.
We've been watching this forever. I'll take the shots from Cooper Kupp and whoever, I'll take any shots. Good. But we know how it ends. When a mommy gets on Twitter, an Indiana basketball player.
That's not good.
No, we know how this ends. We know.
Basketball, to me, is a magical game because it rewards individuality enough that it tempts people toward it, but it ultimately rewards those who are more focused on the other four guys around them. Like Jokic. Have you ever seen a big man pass the ball better than that?
No.
It's unbelievable.
Tom Boerwinkle, but nobody would.
Tom Boerwinkle. But like quick, accurate. Yeah. I always think when I watch accurate passers, what you said the other week about Eric Gordon, where if he doesn't have the ball, he's got to pass it. He's hitting the guy in the foot.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah. He still doesn't care about anybody else on the floor.
No.
He's going to get his, and that's it. He's made $200 million.
And God bless him. And he'd probably make more with restaurants. But Gritty just said, well, Jalen Hood-Schifino was like Trace Jackson Davis. Let me tell you a story. For whatever the reason, season's going on, and Jalen Hood-Schifino and his people need another 100,000.
Yeah.
That ain't like Trace Jackson Davis. That ain't like it. I mean, I get it externally. Yeah, he scored a bunch of buckets against Purdue. Yay, Rob, go fight, win. It was great. Awesome. I was there. It was fantastic. As an Indiana guy, it was great, to see the biggins of Purdue. Okay. But I got to tell you, when the family needs another 100K, and maybe this isn't true, this could be false, but I was told it by a very good source, that ain't what Yogi Ferrell was about. That ain't what Zeller or Oladipo was about. That ain't what Jackson was about. So, argue with me all you like. I love that people argue with me about Indiana basketball when there isn't anything about it I don't know. Like the history, I know it. The players, and everybody wants to argue, oh, you're wrong. I haven't been wrong, or you're jealous, or you're mad that you didn't get the job. No, I know, because I was there for 20 years and everybody there loves me. Don't tell me.
Is it unfair for us to expect that of players when, you've dealt with parents much more than me, but you know the parents are coming at the kids.
Sure.
Like, hey, if you don't score points, you're not going to the league. If you don't go to the league, I got to live in this shack for the rest of my life. I need your millions of dollars. You get your ass out there and be the bell cow for this family and do it right now. It's hard to argue with a parent who's coming at you like that.
You can't.
So you got to get to know the parents.
You got to get to know everybody now. College basketball is interesting. Like college basketball, Izzo and Calipari are both saying we're not getting in bidding wars. Mike Gundy said it. Oklahoma State said we're not getting bidding wars. You're not coming in my office and saying, hey, look, I need a raise. Or if they're both saying, look, and that's a first for Kentucky. Because back in the day, that's all Kentucky did.
And that's why Kentucky's ordinary now.
Could be.
Because the playing field is level.
But I would argue this. Ultimately, now Miami bought a team, went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I don't know what UConn did. I know this. UConn's kids did not quit. They were there before this blew up. So I would argue they're not buying players. San Diego State did not buy players, and Florida Atlantic did not buy players. So I'm sitting there, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in, do teams fall apart that are based on NIL money? Not the NIL money that name, image, and likeness, but the collectives like those Hoosier Hysterics and all those guys putting together money for kids to come to Indiana to play. I think it's interesting because three of the teams didn't buy nobody. One did.
It's easy for a coach that's made $100 million already to
Sure.
say, I'm not getting into this crap.
God, yes.
But then you're going to lose to Andy Enfield.
Right, could. Yeah, no question. Or you lose to St. Peter's like Kentucky did when they won 30 games. No, you're right. But
the only guy I buy in all of that, like Painter, I can see Painter absolutely telling people to get bent. Get out of my office.
I buy Izzo.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you when I bought Izzo. I didn't always buy Izzo for that. But when that whole Bruce Bryan, or what was that kid's name, Bowen, that played for the Pacers for a minute, and the federal investigation, it came out in court documents that Izzo was the one guy who was approached by the dad that said, go fuck yourself.
Really?
Yeah, and he needed him more. Like the kid was from like Flint. It's right there. You got the Flintstones. So he needed the kid, Bowen, more than anybody else. But Bowen's dad, when approaching Izzo, said, I'm not doing that shit. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's very cool. Calbert Cheney, I'm with you, Gritty. Gritty, I'm sending you a shirt. I love Gritty. Jen Gritty.
Nice.
Yeah, she shows up every day with good stuff.
All right, so Boogie Fland's got to go home.
That's
the moral of the story.
He's going to get 40 next year in a game, and we're going to be 2 years from now. We're going to be like, but I tell you can go home for me. One of those guys called me a clown, one of those little freshmen pain in the ass.
Really?
Yeah, what's his name?
Like a student?
Yeah, a freshman player. It was something about last year.
CJ Gunn?
No, this freshman class. Wheeler? Is there a Wheeler?
Coming in?
Yeah. Who's a point guard coming
There's
in?
you got your Cups.
No.
Oh, you've got your Ja'Kai Newton?
Yeah, Newton.
From Georgia?
Yeah,
Okay.
Newton. Yeah, Newton was Woodson's daughter, who by all accounts is whatever. She came at me because I said something like, well, I don't know, Notre Dame wasn't tired. They lost in the first round and went and won. So all the Indiana fans, so this guy, what's his name, Newton?
Yeah.
Called me a clown.
Ooh.
Okay, Newton.
Number 11, a clown?
I don't believe it. Just shows the ignorance of the Indiana player. I mean, the level of stupid at Indiana has never been lower.
No.
Whatever. It was Calbert Cheney. What does that mean? What was Calbert Cheney mean? What were we talking about?
We like Calbert Cheney.
Yeah. What did we say that somebody said? Because Gritty said Calbert Cheney, and then somebody else. We must have asked a question of a player.
Can a guy in that position in lift guys? Well, I don't mean through his presence. I mean through his work. He's going to work out the director of player development or some nonsense. Not nonsense, but can that be?
Calbert was already
get
there.
People better.
Calbert was already there. Like he was there with Cream. Like people forget this.
Yeah.
And what did he do? I mean, look, you're going to live in Indy. You're going to go to Bloomington and go to work. I love Calbert. I'd say that to Calbert's face. If Calbert gets mad at me for saying that on this show, it's free to call me. I'll say, well, you going to be serious, or, well, I want to see my family. Good, are you going to go to Bloomington, get your ass to work like a coach, or are you going to do what you did last time, live in Indy, and do your thing? You want to? That's I mean, Andrew Doggins doesn't live in Indy and work at Illinois State.
Right.
I lived as close as I could to the school so that I could be there, so kids could come to my house.
Fred Glass lived in Indy.
It was Calvert that did
and then was the athletic director.
Fred Glass did, and then he had a place down there, but he did have a place down there. So, hey, look, Indiana.
And I like Fred Glass. I'm not calling him out. It's just a fact.
But you got to go to work. In modern college basketball, you go to work.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit, because it used to be where, like I told you just before, I was going to have kids in May and August because you were kind of off. You're not off now. Players are there in the summer. Indiana just started their workouts in the summer workout with the coach. Dumbest thing ever. You want to know the dumbest thing ever in Indiana? Indiana, not Eric Marshall, some guy named Marshall's the weight coach.
Cliff.
Professional dude. I mean, a pro's pro. Has worked with great players. Seems like a great guy. You know who Coach Knight had as our weight coach? His wife. His freaking wife, Karen Knight. I remember Neil Reed and those guys going, "Hey, coach, man, did we really sign up? This is what Indiana is." I go, "Hey, man." I go, "Apparently it is." And Karen's out there, "You guys have got to go." I shout your Southern draw. "You guys have got to run." Like, they're like, Jesus Christ. Tim Garrow only trained national championship team. He was our strength and conditioning coach. He had it down to a science. But no, he wasn't good enough. Karen Knight's going to do this. I'm going to tell you something. That may be the biggest example of what many have said. It's undefeated.
Yeah.
When you make your wife the weight coach, the strength coach at Indiana University, it's undefeated. What else you got?
Let's talk about Kravitz. Kravitz out at the Athletic, laid off at the Athletic, might retire, might not retire. I'm texting
So did he?
back
You know,
and
every
forth.
time I get a job, I get fired. So did he get fired? Let me guess. Everybody's saying he got laid off.
Well, he showed up for work the other day, and then he didn't show up for work. So I think he would have been playing golf.
That's what I did.
If he was on his way out, he'd have been on the course.
I got no problem with Kravitz. I enjoyed working, but I got tired, and I am tired of Kravitz talking about, quote, my behavior. He's made jokes at his golf outing. He said it on Twitter when I've had issues. Kravitz, I'm going to look at it right in the eye. I've never said a word about your behavior at Emma's, and a lot of us know a lot of stuff. And that's all I'm going to put. I'm not you and Doyle. I don't get personal, but I'm about tired, Kravitz, of hearing you at golf outings in front of Jeff Smolian or on Twitter when I had an issue with Scottsburg, talking about my behavior. Because I could get into yours if you would like while we work together at Emma's. I'm happy to do so if this continues.
I don't think that there's any need for acrimony between two.
I'm just tired of it.
Former co-workers.
I'm just tired of it. I see it all the time. Guy will say, well, Kravitz ripped you at his golf outing about your behavior. I'm like, okay. All right. But I don't do that. I don't get personal much.
No.
I like Bob. I think Bob was great to my son.
You shoot back. If people shoot first, you shoot back.
I do, and I've waited a lot. I mean, I've not said anything for a long time. I've taken it. I mean, when the Scottsburg thing, a few years ago, or when the lady wanted to go at it in the pool with me, and I said no. I see everybody's tweets. Well, Dockich's behavior, he'll probably be rewarded with an extension, which I was, because you guys didn't know shit.
I'll tell you this about you. Is that still, this didn't happen yesterday, but it still happens more often than not. If I walk into the media room at the Colts, you're the first person they talk about. Always and forever. And when you were on the radio, that's almost all that was talked about. It was unbelievable. Like I tried to explain a couple of times. I'm like, what this does, he doesn't hear it, but he knows it, and this is just going to throw gasoline on the fire. Like you're exhibiting the behavior, but they don't get it. They don't understand a competitive mind.
My little thing started when I said something about Holder's article, and he said, well, these are fighting words. I'll kick his ass. I'm like, oh, now we're going. Now I can go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just got tired of hearing about, quote, my behavior. Everybody's got skeletons, man. Everybody does. And I'm not the guy to ever bring him out on anybody. I don't. I do not. But I did get a little tired of that with Kravitz. He's a fine writer. He's fine. He was okay when I was a head coach at Indiana for 7 games. And I kind of liked seeing him and Eddie when we worked together most days. I mean, like most people, some days better than others. And Same thing with me. Some days I'm a jackass. Some days I'm happy-go-lucky. You know, the Prozac or whatever I take sometimes doesn't work right. What are you going to do? But anyway, good for Kravitz if he's retired, and good for the Athletic. The Athletic model wasn't working. Like
it couldn't.
It couldn't.
No.
Most Americans are hardworking people. It's why, okay, Gannett is on strike, and the idiots there aren't putting their bylines in. They're showing, well, when you're selling a newspaper for like 6 months for 99 cents, who's making money?
And why in the world do you see it as a punishment, some kind of penalty for being a bad employee or employer, that you would withhold your branding from your work? I don't understand that logic.
I don't understand it.
Kravitz, to me, always had kind of a true north. He was always a guy who wrote what he felt. He wasn't a click whore. He was a guy who wrote, and he wrote very well. He gathered facts, and he shared an informed perspective. And he's always a really nice guy to me.
Yeah,
I always enjoyed Bob and knew that Bob knew when I hired him that you needed kind of his polar opposite in terms of energy, because Bob can be kind of laconic.
Yeah.
So you put him with Eddie. Eddie's like bombastic and frenetic, and Bob sits and kind of ruminates. They were perfect together.
Yeah, I thought they were great together. And like I said, the only problem that I ever have with Bob is I get tired of hearing about, quote, my behavior. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, just shut up. I mean, it's none of your business, number one. You don't know the facts, number two. And, I guess we could all say something about somebody else if you like. I mean, because when you work with somebody, you kind of know stuff and whatever. But that's not my thing. But it just got tiresome for me. But okay, Ryder. Thought he was okay. I'll never forget losing to Minnesota. And I just happened to look at him. And I'm like, man, I got to explain to these slobs why Blake Hofffarber just hit a shot to beat us. And I saw the whole play. I said, I'm going to try. I'm not even going to get into it. DJ White got thrown out of the way, blah, 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 whatever. And it just pissed me off because, like, Mark Boyle respects his job. He dresses for his job. Yeah. Every day, these slobs, I mean, well, they dress for it. See, your kid, the kid Boyd, he's coming to Colts camp in high-top shoes with no socks. Like, I mean, how about having a little respect for your job? I mean, that's how but I'm old, and I'm stupid, and I'm not to be listened to.
It is a different world, but I agree with you, and I like James Boyd. James Boyd
I've never read him. And people are hating him on the radio. He's got to get a little, you got to tell him he's got to get a little more energy.
You got to bring it up a little bit.
Yeah, like when you're on these shows, you got to have some energy to it.
But you know what? I don't blame him. He doesn't know about radio, and he needs somebody to pull him in and say, hey, we got to get here. And that doesn't happen there. And it really pisses me off that the level of coaching is not at the level that can bring a guy like that from where he is to where he can be.
I agree.
He's got terrific potential.
You know what was worse? ESPN was worse. ESPN didn't coach you at all.
Is that right?
Zero. Now, if you were historically bad, we had a sideline reporter who was like her first job, and I don't know why they hired her, and she's doing an interview with Bo Ryan, and she's shaking, and it's like, Jesus Christ. They will send you to
remediation camp.
Well, yes, it's called. There was a guy's name. It was some guy. You got to go see Sphincter or some guy at ESPN. They would fly you out to see this guy, and so we had this big meeting. Dave O'Brien, Bart Fox, Scott Johnson, and me. And my first year, and I don't know nothing. I'm just sitting in this hotel room. She's bawling. Bart's ripping her ass. Dave O'Brien's like, we just got to do better, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, I don't even know why I'm here at all. I just want to have some beers after a Wisconsin game, Bart. And she had Schlotsky, a guy named Schlotsky or something was the guy. Hey, you got to go spend a weekend with Schlotsky and he'll teach you all this stuff. So she had to go for a remediation camp. She had to go to see Schlotsky. Jesus. I'd have to look the guy's name up. But if you had to go see him, you were either just in at ESPN or were really no good. And they were going to give you a national. I'm lucky. I never had to go see Schlotsky or whatever. I remember when she had to go, she came back. She goes, "Oh, it's great. I'm so much better now." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great."
The thing about going back to James for just a second, with the Athletic now, if you're an Indianapolis or an Indiana sports fan, you got one guy, James Boyd, bringing you news of Indiana. And that's it. And that's not worth $75 a year, period.
He's the only guy left?
He's it.
What happened to Kiefer?
Kiefer is doing national stuff.
Oh, okay.
He's not local anymore. He
And
doesn't even have
Kravitz
a
is
desk
gone.
at the Colts place. Kravitz is gone. There's nobody at his desk.
So who's that?
Holder jumped to ESPN. So it's James Boyd and nobody. Like, he used to cover the Pacers. You had a beat guy for Notre Dame who would come down and cover college basketball a little bit. You had Kiefer, and you had Holder, and you had Kravitz. So you had 5 guys. Now you got 1. Now he knows enough to, like, he was the Pacers beat guy for the Star.
For a year or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he was a Colts beat guy, and then the Athletic got him. I'm not paying, James Boyd is a really, really nice guy. I'm not paying $75 a year to read James Boyd and James Boyd alone. That's crazy. I canceled my subscription today.
You did?
Yeah. I wanted to be a guy who supported local journalism, and I'm not going to subscribe to the Star. I won't do it because they won't deliver the newspaper.
No,
You
you can't. No, that's the worst. That started a long time ago.
Then I'm on the phone. Well, we'll credit your account.
Yeah, well, I wake up in the morning. This is before the internet blew up for me. I always wanted to have a paper in my hand. This is back when I lived in Zionsville. First started with Emmis. I wanted to have a paper. I subscribed to the Star.
It feels right.
I would walk. Yes, I walked down. It would be in the drive, and then it wasn't. And then it wasn't again. And then I started ripping them, and they would call and say the same. Well, we'll credit your account. We'll bring it out this afternoon. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've already stolen it from the IBC newsroom. And now it's like, I didn't realize this. I was just in Toledo. My mother-in-law passed away, so that's where they live. We were up there. And yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lee's mom she was just with us in Boston. She just dropped dead on her porch in the back. It's terrible. But I'm up there, and I didn't realize that Toledo Blade was a 2-day week, Thursday, Sunday paper.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this is like owned by the Block Company, so that's the direction. Boyd called me a racist, I guess. So somebody said it, I saw it. I'm like, okay, well, you're right. I mean, call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. But I'm sure I'm not paying $75 for that.
It's just like, it's so different for people who've been in the room where decisions are made and how they're made. Me in radio, you in basketball and whatnot, and sports, you understand that what happens in the room is much different from what is presented.
Yeah.
You understand also that the people are not always what they seem to be. And they should know that. And that's what people don't know you personally, but they feel very good about judging you personally.
Oh, God, yeah.
And there's a difference between, and to your credit, there's a difference between you in media and you personally.
Sure.
I mean, there's a pretty big...
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't walk around giving my opinion all the time in real life. I figure they pay me to, give an opinion.
You've got to be polarizing.
You've got to be
people
energetic.
either like or dislike what you say.
Yeah.
You can't, on a scale of 1 to 5, you cannot be a 3.
No.
You got to be a 5 or you got to be a 1, and it really doesn't matter which you are.
Pretty much.
To the employer. And that's the way media works. And people need, like print media guys need to get that. You could understand them a little bit better. I don't think you want to.
I don't want to because I think they're like, I'll give Doyle credit. I mean, you said it a few weeks ago. He don't believe the crap he writes. But he's there for clicks and he's there for opinion and
that's what he's managed towards.
That's what he's doing.
Hey, your column didn't get any clicks.
Right.
It might have been a beautiful thing that like he poured his heart into. Doesn't get clicks, they think it sucks.
Yeah. So, now we're all bad because we're mad at Brittany Griner, but we like live golfers. Look, I don't give a shit about any of it. Neither does he, I'm sure. But, if you're in the newspaper business right now, I would imagine, because I saw Galensick, the editor, talking about they get 1 million views a day. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. And that's what you're looking at. You're not looking at subscriptions anymore, at least subscriptions of the newspaper.
And you're not looking at the quality of the work.
No.
It used to be all about the quality of the work.
If you were looking at the quality of the work, which I don't think, that DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, look, that's what rules the roost. I actually thought this. I thought that I did see where Kiefer went now that you said that. I forgot about that. And I remember thinking, okay, What if the Atlantic, now I didn't know, or the Athletic, I didn't know they were laying people off. Yeah. But what if they decided, because they could, they had an older man and they had an African American guy. So they didn't need any kind, they got, unless they needed a woman.
Right.
Okay? But what if they just hired the best ball-busting reporter you could possibly, you don't need diversity, you don't need an Asian guy, maybe you need a woman, maybe she'd find the best woman that's going to bust balls and be the best writer for the Colts. Like, that's one of the reasons media doesn't work anymore. You're not getting the best writers. You read the crap. You're not getting the best stuff. You're getting people that are hired for reasons other than being the best.
Although I do think, I get what you're saying about diversity, but the difference between Bob and James, I think, came down to cash.
No.
Like Bob was making a lot more money than James.
I wasn't saying, I was saying, I didn't know they were getting rid of him. I'm saying that you were hiring a third guy in Kiefer's spot.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying? I'm saying you got James,
right.
You got, maybe you need a woman. I don't know. Hell, when I talk to my agent, he's like, hey, you know any Asian women that want to be on TV? Because everybody's looking for an Asian or maybe a Filipino girl. That's all I go, no, no. But that's the reality.
I can go look for one.
I mean, whenever because I'm like, I want.
That's bizarre.
Oh, it's I have a niece who's great, Emily Eamon, and I'm like, you gotta have her. Well, kind of need an Asian or African American or maybe a little older one. All right, that's the world. That's the world that we live in everything, and right or wrong. But I didn't know the Atlantic was doing this. So I'm thinking, man, Bob. It seemed to me was pushed aside a bit by the Athletic. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It seemed like maybe Kiefer was their guy, or maybe Holder when he was there. Boyd, I don't know. I've never really read. I'm thinking, man, you could get somebody in here that would write the shit that, not that when the Colts beat the Vikings and Doyle writes, this is a Super Bowl precedent, or we signed Ngakoue, and this is the greatest signing. No, somebody that has a little feel for what's real.
Right.
In the end, because I think that's missing terribly in Indianapolis. I think terribly. All of a sudden now Doyle is all in on Ballard over the last 2 months. Oh, he's a genius. Really? What changed?
Nobody, I don't know, with you not on the fan, I don't know who in this market is holding anybody accountable in any kind of real way. Or should, because I don't think that these guys, most of them, Chap could, but that's not who he is. That's not what he does. That's not what he's interested in doing.
Right.
You look around that media room, you look at the Pacers. The Pacers, you got Tony East and Scott Agnes.
But aren't they bloggers?
And then Dustin Pirak.
Yeah.
But, who has a background where they can bring any kind of personal and professional acumen and perspective toward the decision-making that's going on?
No.
And toward you understand the way coaches act when they're under duress and they feel like they're going to get gassed.
Right.
That's an interesting perspective that nobody in this market has about anything.
No.
That's nothing. A bad thing.
Like I watch, and I'm blocked by Holder, but I'll sneak in there, and it's always I mean, it's like guys are trying to prove their own self. Like, I think this. You look at Holder's tweets.
Now wait a minute.
For
what purpose do you do this?
What?
Tunnel your way in clandestinely into Stephen Holder's Twitter account.
Let me tell you something. I do it about once every month because I'm bored to death. I work 2 hours a day, and if it's raining outside, I may end up on an OnlyFans account. You know what? This is a true. Did I tell you this story about OnlyFans?
No.
I've never seen OnlyFans. I have no idea what it is. My brother.
This is the first time I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
I thought it was a fan site.
Yeah.
It's kind of a porn site where you subscribe to a women's site where they either take their clothes off, some do a little pornography, I don't know. So I think it's a fan site.
Right.
So about a month ago.
Only for fans.
Yes. My brother goes, hey, you know anything about his OnlyFans? I go, no, what is it? He explains it to me. My brother is he's involved, he's a developer in Northwest Indiana, and they're putting together hotels and a ballpark in Michigan City, and he's raising capital. He's flying all over the place to raise capital for this. He goes, I got a call from an agent of 3 OnlyFans girls that make $2 million a month, and they need somewhere to put their money in it. So we're on the golf course. And I'm looking it up. I go, Tom, you can't be involved in this. He goes, well, I'm not involved in it. He goes, look, I'm taking money from everybody. I'm flying to LA. He's in Colombia. I go, they make what? He goes, yeah. We looked it up, and sure enough, I forget the woman's name. It's about 2 months. So I learned about OnlyFans, and I'm like, damn. So there's a lot of pervs out there. I don't know how we got on this discussion.
I don't know, but is there a market for 60-year-old men like taking off their shirts and? I'm in for $2 million.
Oh God.
Whatever you need.
Hey, I just took a shot of testosterone this morning. From Affinity Health. I'll show you where my scar right here is and where it hurts. You know what I mean? I got an announcement. I'm on diet 7,622.
Are you?
Yeah. Here's this.
Is this the Oreo only diet?
No,
the golden Oreo double stuffed diet?
Kravitz and I killed the whole time.
I know it.
No, here's what it is. So I go to my mother-in-law.
Kravitz.
It was like Serena Williams against like Peyton or something.
Right.
I remember going home getting sick. Like, oh God. Kravitz and I literally, he had a box, I had a box, and we're on the air, and we're both eating, talking about. So this is the new diet. I went, and this is sad. My mother-in-law, I love my mother-in-law.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's so horrible. And Lee's been a champ, and her brother Donnie, but we're there, and so I take Donnie and Jared, my stepson, and we go out, and I'm like, look, fellas, we're going to Cabela's. And then they were going to Cabela's. I went with them, and I said, we're going to have beers. So we go have beers, and it's first time, it was the day after she passed. We're laughing, right? You get laughing.
Right.
And then I look, and Donnie's overweight. I'm overweight. Lee's cousin is in the hospital. She's my mother-in-law's best friend. She's in the hospital. She's overweight, talking about her feet. And he said, another lady in the family is in the hospital. We visit hospitals and the funeral home to get this all done. And I look, and I'm like, you know what? I got good genes. My mother's 86 years old and she's a beautiful woman and gets around. And so I've decided I'm making this one simple. No alcohol, because when I drink alcohol, I eat. No alcohol and no snacks. And I'm losing 20 pounds by our golf outing on July 10th. It'll last. It's lasted 2 days. It'll last 3, and then I'll be back.
We do have a Friday coming up.
I know.
Damn those Fridays.
I know. But so for those of you that have tracked my diets over the years,
it's a new one.
3,782.
Noom. Have you ever gone on Noom, the app, Noom?
No. What does it do?
It's an idea.
What does it do?
It is it helps you psychologically, I guess. My wife told me. It curbs your enthusiasm for food somehow or another. It might be, she was telling me about
maybe
it this
if I
morning.
go on OnlyFans, it'll curb my maybe get Biggins OnlyFans.
Curb your enthusiasm for, the relations and for food. Who knows?
I did a diet. Try this, Justin. I did a diet where I can't eat in the house. No eating in the house. So I go to McDonald's, get 2 hamburgers for lunch, take off the buns, and when I came home, I couldn't eat. Lost 10 pounds. I'm in good shape because of...
But that's not sustainable.
No, right. No booze and snacks. I mean, like they brought home last night, they brought home our place, Sundays.
Right.
They brought home I call it graham crapper crunch.
Oh man, is that good stuff.
Yeah, and I ate 2 bites and I put it away because I'm a new man.
Get a chocolate milkshake with that graham crackers or Graham Central Station.
Let's go do our show. Let's do a show from there next time.
They love us.
They used to give me buckets. They don't anymore. I miss my old show. When are we going on the air here in Indy?
I don't know. We got to figure that out. That may be in the works. I keep hearing good things.
Anything else?
Nah.
Hey, Indy needs Pat back in the market. No, they need Dockage.
Pat who?
Must be McAfee.
McAfee?
I think
Is
he's
he
doing
not
okay.
in the market?
Well, no, not on radio. He used to be on CBS.
Let
me ask you this. Before we go, you got a minute?
Yeah.
I know you're going out to Colts camp. Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Does he change? Does his show get less popular being on ESPN?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because of the stigma of ESPN.
Just becomes an ESPN show?
Yeah, and they'll manage him to the middle. Or at least they're going to try to manage him to the middle, and that isn't going to work. They say they won't. There's no way they won't do it. Management at the level they've got at ESPN, where those guys live in big, giant, fancy houses, what are they about? They're about survival. And survival is mandated, especially in middle management, by the phone not ringing for upper management. That's going to generate attention toward Pat and management toward the middle. Telling you.
I don't think, since I've gotten into streaming, I don't think his show could get any more popular on streaming. Like, I don't. His show is so ridiculously good and so ridiculously popular. I'm going to say no, but I do think this. He's going to replace Max, which is like at 3 o'clock, I think. I've never seen it. Is it 2?
Yeah, that's a poor show.
That's a tough one.
Bad show. Yeah,
Max?
at least you're coming in behind. Yeah, you're coming in to replace. I mean, it's like bringing in Bruce Sutter to relieve Paul Russell. It's like, okay. No, Max Kellerman, really likable.
Is he?
So I understood, like when he did boxing with Brian Kenny.
I liked him.
He was great.
Yeah, I liked him.
But then all of a sudden you start Bomani Jones. I know you're not a Bomani fan.
No, I liked him early.
But exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got a guy who builds likability, and then they take him from here and they plop him into there, and all of a sudden he's asked to do different things and he doesn't do them as well. And that's what they do. They're really bad about doing that, taking really good people who do X and saying, well, they're good at that, let's have them do Y. No, it doesn't work.
It's going to be interesting because a lot of people are saying, well, he can't swear, or well, he can't. And I don't know. You can swear on ESPN. They just don't want you to. There's no FCC thing with ESPN.
And that is a part of his allure to the young.
It is.
F-bombs here, F-bombs there.
Because it's irreverent.
Right.
I think it's going to be just fine. I think they'll pub it. They're paying him. They better pub it. But a lot of people don't. And your point is right. I'm trying to think here.
It'll take 2 years for this thing to spin out of control. First year is going to be beautiful. Then that 6 months are going to be like, I'm not sure we really want this. And then after 2 years, they're going to be like, I'm certain that we don't want this. That's what'll happen.
Really?
2 years.
I
love Pat.
Yeah.
Pat's a great dude, but that's what's going to happen. The corporate world is going to try to twist him into knots that he's uncomfortable with. He may walk away.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he ain't afraid to walk away. He walked away from FanDuel. He walked away from CBS. He walked away from Barstool. He walked away from Sirius. I mean,
he's smart about money, but he's also stupid about money too. He's got some, like putting the logo on the race car. That cost a shit ton of money. That was a lot of money out of his pocket that he tried to recoup through T-shirts. Like, no.
He did buy a goat, but he was young. I'll tell you this, he told me a great story one time about making more money playing poker against rich guys on Wednesday nights than he made in his first year's salary with the Colts. I don't know when he made his first year's salary.
People think that he's just some rogue.
No.
He is really smart.
Yes.
I was telling somebody about that the other day. Oh, isn't he great? He just doesn't give a shit.
Oh.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah, no.
He
really
is
smart.
one of... John Beilein is the best talent evaluator I've seen in the last 20 years in college basketball. Pat McAfee is the best business evaluator.
Really?
Yeah, he's smart, man. That's why I don't see him not succeeding on ESPN. I do think it's going to be a bit of a struggle between him and them because, to your point, I had 2 guys, executives at ESPN, tell me, hey, Dan, I'm just staying around for my 401k to keep and my stock options to keep, and that was after a couple of beers with a few guys that were in Boston. They weren't the high, right? It wasn't Michael Patero, whatever the guy's name is, but they were Jimmy Patero. Yeah, I'm sorry, but they were up there. They were not slabs.
When I was at Emmis and management changed when Tom died, it was made really, really clear that the management team is inviolate. We're not blaming anything on anybody in the management team. The employees are cogs in the wheel. We're the important ones. We need to survive. I was like, this is not, I'll try, because I'll try.
That's not you, though.
I'll try to squeeze myself into that shit. But no, it didn't work, and so I had to go.
Yeah, that's not who you are. That's, that's who they are.
Yep. And they're really good at it. None of them got fired.
No. Somebody, I don't know, one of the guys that got let go at the Atlantic said, well, I didn't get to leave on my own terms and blah, blah. Okay, well, they do at Emmis, or they do at with that crew.
Yeah.
They leave on their own terms, and I don't. Hey, I'm not mad at you. Good for them. I'm anxious to see.
You have to choose what your priorities are in life, and I got no problem with people exercising priorities that I don't share. That's fine. Different strokes for different folks. Some people didn't get along with Tom. I love Tom. I'd work today. We'd still be there if Tom was there, for Christ's sake. So,
yeah, I'll tell you a story. Only if Pat's sitting here, McAfee, about me, Pat, and his vitamins on our way to ESPN. I feel like I would be speaking behind his back if he wasn't here. McAfee, some people are asking me.
You can't pull back the curtain on private stuff.
Not unless you're here.
Right.
I'm not that guy. Like I said
You
about
invite
Kravitz.
people to tell it on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was ever on with Pat, well, I've been on with him. I don't think we've talked about it.
Might come up one day.
Hey, like us, subscribe to us.
Bam.
We need to get to 5,000 so this show.
Smash that button.
I think something's going on with me. I think Twitter and Facebook or YouTubers are hurting me.
Twitter for sure. Twitter is being selective about stuff. They are with me.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The idea of a conservative show is a little tough with Twitter. Even though Musk took it out, we've seen our numbers really drop. Like I was at 80, 100,000. And now they changed the whole thing. We get 10, 15, and then YouTube numbers are up, but the other stuff's interesting.
YouTube's honest.
Pretty much. YouTube will get pissed about certain things. But anyway, man, this is our biggest numbers yet. 91 we just had. We should keep talking, but Kent's got to go. This might be our best show yet.
Always leave them wanting more. Ray Witt's wife. I'm at Ray Witt's, Ray, at his wedding reception.
Would flip his eyelids.
Somebody asked me to speak, and I'd had a couple of beers. So I'm talking about Ray, and Gretchen came up and goes, always leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
I said, good night, everybody. And that was that. Like I don't want her to get up
go
and
a little
look
too
at her
long,
own wedding. Yeah, a little bit. Pulling back the curtain a little bit too far with Ray.
Last thing. How many speeches do you think you've given at weddings that you'd be embarrassed if they showed up on YouTube?
Ooh.
Because back in the day, you didn't care at weddings, right? Hey, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you're that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
I posted this yesterday because my son sent it. But we'd had a couple of cocktails down at Whataburger's, and I'm dancing and flailing around, and Ryan thinks it's hilarious. And I was like, okay, I'll make an ass of myself. But, shit like that, I didn't know I was being videotaped.
Yeah.
I was just extemporaneously dancing,
Yeah. Lee and I were dancing in the car the other day after Tegan got graduated. We were in Boston, and we were just laughing and dancing to some stupid song in the front seat, and Tegan's back there. I turned around and go, get that shit out of here.
No.
Get that shit out of there.
When we were kids,
God.
like 20, 25, social media would have ended my life. I don't think I could have gotten work ever with social media because I would have thought it was funny.
Right.
I would have been one of those idiots, not the clever guy. Like I went on vacation with Pabst. We took a long weekend. I forgot to use his
Polly Balls?
Yeah, his fake name. And he was like, no photos, you don't get to know my email.
Yeah.
My name's Bill.
Yeah.
Nothing. When we leave here on the plane, there's no record of our being here. And we're friends, we're good friends right now for the next 3 days. These are like people we met.
Yeah.
Wheels up, I don't know who the hell you people are. And it was perfect. He set the expectation.
Yeah.
Nothing was photographed, nothing was videoed, and we all had a great time.
And nobody needed to know.
And still don't.
I know one thing. You went to a cockfight in the middle of nowhere.
We did go to a cockfight.
You did.
Here's the thing about betting on cockfights. You can't tell the chickens apart. You have no idea which one won. Like, which one did I bet on?
They don't have like tags on it?
Or numbers?
Nothing.
There's nothing. And they're identical. They could be brothers and sisters. I don't know. But one of them, sadly, passes in the course of the fight, is thrown on a pile of other chickens that didn't win. But I don't know who won. I was like, 5 on that guy. Okay. I never won.
Nobody gave you money?
No. Of course they didn't. And they charged us money to get in, which I don't believe is cricket. I don't believe they do that for the
Is cricket?
the natives.
What does that mean?
You know, it's not cricket.
What does that mean?
It's you know, it's not
Kosher?
Yeah, good.
Not
Kosher.
right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Not
not right. They did it to us. They did not do it to anyone else, I'm pretty sure. And they charged 3 of us $16. 3 doesn't go into 16. How the hell does that work? So
You guys, they wanted to curtail the ugly American in you. They wanted to
There
make
it
damn
was.
sure you were kept down a little bit.
Paulie told me when we go, I said, what do I need to bring? I hadn't been to this part of Mexico. He goes, a bunch of 5s and a bunch of 1s. So I brought a pack of $55 bills and a pack of 51s. And
Sustain you?
like, yeah, you're all set. Because we went to an all-inclusive where you're duking guys, and if you duke somebody a buck, they're like your friend forever.
Yeah.
We had guys, we walked into the restaurant, and it's totally booked. And say, yeah, you got room for 3? Yes, sir! And boom, like guys come out of the woodwork, they move tables. Sir, you're going to have to move over here. You're going to have to move over here. They put tables like in the center of the place. We were like Ray Liotta and Goodfellas. It was awesome.
Yeah,
because
you're
we
the
gave
wheel.
a guy a 5.
You're the wheel. We don't. You know my stance. My stance on tipping is I tithe a little bit to churches, but I tip. I just got a thing from Capital One saying, "Did you tip 45% at Great Lakes Brewing Company?" I did. They were great service. And
Good for you.
Yeah, and then there was a girl that was great. She was going to Copenhagen the night my mother-in-law passed. Lee and I finished the night, went to get a dessert and a glass of wine, and the girl was awesome, and she's going to Copenhagen the next day to study. She's going to be a doctor. I gave her a 50. I said, put it in your pocket right now. Don't share it with the other people. I love tipping. I love it. I love tipping. I think tipping is...
Good service.
Yeah, good service. Yeah. Yeah, but I love, we had great service. The girl's a bartender, one had 3 kids, we got to know them, divorced. I'm like, fuck,
You know what? When people watch this, they're going to see you coming into a restaurant.
Yeah.
The servers are watching this.
Yeah.
They're going to fight over your
Hey,
table.
I'm telling you, I will tip you. You can do good by me. I tipped the shit out of them last night. We lost at the buzzer last night at the district tap. I had to go speak for my friend Bruce Kidd. He had it called the Night of CEOs. So I spoke at this little gathering at District Tap. And on Tuesdays, I'll call you next time. District Tap has trivia. The winner gets $75 gift card. We're down. We're in first place. We got the Harvard grad up there. We got all these people. And we're crushing, but we're tied. Last question is like a Jeopardy deal.
Yeah.
Put these in alphabetical order, what happened, and you can bet up to 20 points. So what's the southernmost, here's a question for you. What's the southernmost capital in the contiguous United States? State capital. I won't bore you with it.
I'm going to guess Phoenix.
That was one of my choices. My choice was Austin or Phoenix. We went with Tallahassee. It was Austin. What's the only movie in 2023 that's made $1 billion? Super Mario. There was, shit.
Did you know that?
No, God, no. We missed all this. And we bet 20. All right, who's the only NFL team who's the record-setting NFL team that hasn't been in the playoffs or won a playoff game since 1991? Lee's friend Jamie, who doesn't really follow sports, knew this. Lions, very, very good. Last question. You got to put them in alphabetical order and get the answer. Last question. Who is the last Beatle to have a record in the Hot 100 countdown?
I'll say John Lennon.
That's what we said. George Harrison.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we lost, and we came in third. So we got a $20 gift card, but it's a blast. It's 2 hours. I didn't drink, which, made it less fun. But food's good. We had a great time.
It probably enhanced your trivial awareness.
When you got Jared, who's brilliant, and Tegan, who's off the charts brilliant, and Lee.
But they don't know these cultural things.
No, and one of the questions, the easiest question there. Who was, in 1984, the player picked between Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan?
Oh, Sam Bowie.
There you go.
There you are.
Oh.
Nice guy.
Really
I
nice
like
guy.
Sam Bowie.
Really nice guy.
All right.
We done?
Thank you.
Like us.
Subscribe. All of you 77 people, let's go.
And then tell your friends. We'll be back. See you. It's kind of